Chris McCandless, an American adventurer, became famous after his tragic story was chronicled in the book Into the Wild by John Krakauer, published in 1996. His quest for a life of simplicity and freedom, away from societal expectations, ultimately led to his untimely death in the Alaskan wilderness in 1992. McCandless's journey has inspired debates about self-discovery, survival, and the balance between independence and responsibility. Christopher Johnson McCandless was born on February 12, 1968, in El Segundo, California, to Walt and Billy McCandless. He grew up in an affluent family, but despite his privileged upbringing, Chris was deeply disillusioned with materialism and societal norms. He was known for his intelligence, independence, and strong beliefs in living a life of authenticity and purpose. Chris attended Emory University in Atlanta, Georgia, and graduated in 1990 with a degree in history and anthropology. However, instead of pursuing a conventional career, he chose a different path. Upon graduating, McCandless donated his $24,000 savings to charity, abandoned most of his possessions, and set out on a cross-country journey under the alias Alexander Supertramp. McCandless's journey across the United States was driven by his desire to live free from societal expectations and reconnect with nature. He traveled extensively throughout the American West, including Arizona, California, and South Dakota. During his travels, he worked odd jobs, lived with minimal possessions, and avoided prolonged contact with his family and friends, who were unaware of his whereabouts. McCandless was heavily influenced by the works of authors like Henry David Thoreau, Jack London, and Leo Tolstoy. These ideals fueled his desire to live off the land and experience the beauty and challenge of the natural world firsthand. In April 1992, Chris McCandless made his way to Alaska, determined to live in the wilderness and survive on his own. His ultimate destination was the remote wilderness area of Denali National Park. Carrying little more than a rifle, a few supplies, and a guide to edible plants, McCandless set out into the wild, hoping to live a life of solitude and simplicity. He found an abandoned bus, known as Bus 142, which he used as a shelter. For several months, McCandless lived in isolation, hunting small game and foraging for edible plants. He kept a journal, documenting his experiences and struggles as he adapted to life in the wilderness. However, his survival skills were limited, and over time, his food supplies dwindled. By July 1992, McCandless had decided to leave the wilderness, but discovered that the Teclanica River, which he had crossed earlier in the season, had become too swollen and dangerous to pass due to the summer snowmelt. Trapped and running low on food, McCandless's condition began to deteriorate. In his weakened state, McCandless likely consumed toxic wild plants, which further contributed to his decline. By August, he was starving, and his health rapidly worsened. He wrote a final note asking for help, but it was too late. Chris McCandless passed away in Bus 142 in mid-August 1992 at the age of 24. His body was found by hunters in September, approximately 2 weeks after his death. Chris McCandless's story has resonated with many people who see his journey as a symbol of the search for meaning, freedom, and authenticity. John Krakauer's book Into the Wild and the 2007 film adaptation directed by Sean Penn have both contributed to McCandless's enduring legacy.